Hello everyone, I'm Lawrence from Unicorn Reviews, but no one cares who I am. Today we're looking at something that is important, aka our new motherboards to go with the Ryzen CPU. So this is the Gigabyte Aorus AX370 Gaming 5, so they're mid-tier motherboard for enthusiasts. So it's a socket AM4, it has Gen 2 USB 3.1, so that's the 10 gigabit stuff. Also has NVMe PCIe SSD support over both U.2 and M.2, so that's great. On this flap right here, we can also see that it does indeed support Ryzen. It also has RGB Fusion, Smart Fan 5, Ryzen CPU support, VR ready, whatever that means, and it has killer Ethernet. On the other side, it just has the content, so it just says in English DDR4 memory, dual BIOS, and a Gigabyte app center, which is usually rubbish. More important stuff is here on the back. So on the back we get this picture of the product. We can see our RGB lighting here. We can swap the overlay accent LED, so we don't actually have full RGB lighting controls. We can get different RGB strips to light up our case with the motherboard itself without having to go to something like a Hue Plus. We have a pretty decent DAC and amp, it would seem, so that's great. Smart Fan 5 to make everything quiet and still decent. We have dual gigabit Ethernet with the killer Ethernet port, so hopefully we can do some link aggregation there to get really high Ethernet speeds. Then we also have two-way crossfire and SLI, so we can run dual graphics, and as I said, 10 gigabit USB connections. There's also some extra product pictures just showing how your GPUs will be spaced if you run SLI or Crossfire. It says something about high-end audio components. I'll do a full review on this board in the very near future, but I'm just rushing out these videos so you guys have a look, because at the moment for me this is the only available motherboard. So at least the only available X370 motherboard. So let's just have a look in the box itself. Nothing on the flap here, and you're immediately greeted with the board itself. So let's just take that out and see which accessories we get, and also let's try not to drop the board. So accessory wise, we have two SATA cables, so 90-degree angle on one side, straight connector on the other. Only one of them is angled. We also have a second bag of these, so that's 4 cables in total. There is a piece of paper in French. There is what appears to be a USB to RGB header. So this is for your RGB cable so that you can run it externally. We have Velcro straps with the Aorus branding on it, so that's pretty decent if you want to show off your system. We have the Gigabyte G connector, so that's the same as ASUS does, where you connect your front I/O to this and then plug it in afterwards to make everything a lot easier. We have a SLI bridge, so a two-way SLI bridge. Ooh, this is nice. So we also get a chrome or nickel plated I/O cover, a sticker, so an Aorus sticker, an installation guide, our user's manual, which is pretty thin actually, a DVD with all your software on it, and then something I really like with products, stickers to put on your SATA cable so you know which cable goes where. This is actually really handy, and I always label my SATA cables, and I always have to make my own pieces of tape, but having something like this really makes stuff really easy. Then we also have these two weird cables. I don't actually know what these are. So they seem like something you plug into your motherboard on one end, and on the other end is just a black dot. So I have no idea what these are. We'll find that out in our full review. Let's throw the box away and have a look at the board itself. So the board comes in this cardboard thing. Should not have put the SATA cables on top. Let's get it out. There we go. Ooh, I like it already. It's not one of those semi-length boards, so this is like proper full-size ATX. So that's great. Oh my god, guys, look at this. Ain't she beautiful? I'm going to turn down the brightness a little bit because the board does have white pieces here and they're completely blowing out. So we have a plastic cover over our I/O, which looks really nice. We also have a black heatsink right here to cover our CPU power delivery stuff. We also have another one here up top. Of course, RGB lit RAM slots. How could you possibly live without them? Our 8-pin connector is here up top, and then we have dual CPU PWM headers. There's an additional one here, although this is probably an LED header, maybe for the Ryzen heatsink, who knows. We have our triple PCIe slots. So this is 16x, 8x, and this is 4x. So obviously with Ryzen you get 24 PCIe lanes, so 16 on this one, 8 on this one. You also have your M.2 connector over here. I like how they're the metal reinforced ones, so that always is really nice, because I actually have a perfect example for you guys. This is a 5-year-old HD 7970, which was in a motherboard that did not have those metal thingies, and because of that the PCI, the PCB has been completely bent. So this card is dead now, so hopefully stuff like this will prevent that from happening. So we have our audio stuff here. It's not too impressive looking, to be honest. Here at the bottom, LED demo, some audio connectors, TPM connectors, USB 2 connectors, more fan headers, so that's an additional 3 PWM headers right there. On this side of the board we have dual USB 3.0 headers. We have this swappable color plate, so right now I'm guessing it's just white. We have our OC button, so power on the board itself, our overclock on the board itself, some clear CMOS buttons I'm guessing. Our 24-pin, more fan headers. There's a lot of fan headers on this board. Got our U.2 connections over here, and then we also have our SATA and SATA Express connections. So actually it's looking incredibly impressive right now. A lot of fan headers. The board feels very heavy though, very well made. On the back of the board there's no M.2 connector on the back, so some boards do have that. Looking at the I/O, that's the reason I bought this board, other than of course the fact that it's the only X370 board available. So we have our dual USB 3.1 ports. You can change the amps of this one, so if you're charging phones, stuff like that. And then we have our USB 3 ports, or other ones. 2 of them are 10 gigabit. I don't know which ones, I'm guessing these 2. So one of them is a Type-C connector. Then we have one HDMI connector for when we're putting APUs in later. Also gold-plated connections for your audio stuff, and a Toslink for optical audio. That's really nice. Also, for the overclocking friends out here, a combo PS2 port. So that's great if you're having some problems with your BIOS. Also, I just noticed yet another PWM header next to our CPU 8-pin. So that was it basically for my unboxing and my very quick look. I will do a full review on the Aorus AX370 Gaming 5 motherboard, which will come sometime in the future. I'm incredibly busy with schoolwork right now, and it's a shame that I can't push out these videos faster, but just subscribe to the channel if you want to see that. If you like this video, press that like button. If you didn't, hit the subscribe button for I make videos that you do like. If you want to follow the channel for pictures of motherboards and the new Ryzen chips and my new build in a case which is still under NDA, so I can't show it. There's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, if you want to support the channel, there's a Patreon link for that. So we'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers!